For the 5th time in its storied history, Oak Tree at Santa Anita hosts the Breeders' Cup World Championships. And on this day, when the sun rose, it was one of the hottest days, and the action on the track got very hot for Bob Baffert. 4 main contenders over the 2 days of championship racing. He looked on over some important workouts, as did Owen Hardy, trying to get Colonel John to his big moment in the Breeders' Cup World Championships. Then there was a horse who was out, literally. Kodiak Cowboy in the sprint. We'll explain. But maybe the biggest attention was focused on the Europeans coming out for their first look around the racetrack here at Oak Tree at Santa Anita. Then there was a late arrival to the Works. Hey, from the Emerald Isle, Frank Lyons. Frank, the Works starts right now. Welcome to the Works Breeders' Cup 2009 on America's Horse Racing Network, TVG. It was one of those crystal clear days here today at Oak Tree where it looked like you could reach out from the Santa Anita Grandstand and touch the San Gabriel Mountains. It was also very hot today, and that's going to be maybe a subject we'll talk more about as we get to the 2 championship days of racing, with temperatures pushing up near 90 degrees today. But it is Friday and Saturday that we will be focused on. Joining me here on our set by the winner's circle at Oak Tree at Santa Anita, once again, Simon Bray, and one of the best trainers here in America, Tom Amos. Some big works today. Who stands out for you that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing Sensational. As I said yesterday during Backstretch Buzz, this horse is ready to explode, according to trainer Bob Baffert. And I want to see if that's going to happen on the racetrack this morning. He's the best sprinter in the country right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing him work a little later on in the show. Sensational,
always quick in the morning. Tom, what about you?
Well, for me, it's going to be Bob Baffert's choice in the Classic, and that's Richard's Kid, a horse that has come to California and found new life and really has become a changed horse, now a top horse here in California, and I like the home field advantage. I want to see him work today, see if he goes in the Classic the right way.
Those are just 2 of the workouts. Plenty of important ones taking place in divisions across the way, and again, that important look at the Euros just coming out to the racetrack. Christina Olivares is on assignment, so I'll take us through our news of the day. The news of the day starts with horses that won't be running in the World Championships. Grade 1 Vosburg winner Kodiak Cowboy is out of the sprint. Assistant trainer Tony Mathiasen told TVG that he had him scoped after this morning's work, which unfortunately showed a lot of mucus. The Cowboy will head back to Churchill Sunday. The Cigar Mile remains a goal later in the month. All I can say is wow has been knocked out of the filly and mare sprint, with what her trainer Patrick Biancone speculates is a tear in her high suspensory. Bob Baffert held court today, working Sensational, Looking at Lucky, and Richard's Kid. Baffert is just glad to have all 4 of his Breeders' Cup works in the books.
I'm so relieved right now. Now, as long as they can all come out of their works, great. Still, day to day, but at least we got all the important stuff done, so.
Monday morning marked the first sighting of the Euros on the track. Defending turf champion Conduit, as well as the 5-horse Juddmonte contingent, which includes Midday and Zacento. The time change may have given trainers an extra hour of light, but Godolphin still nearly wrapped up all of its training by sunrise. Regal Ransom and Girolamo have been entered as first preference for the Classic. Godolphin assistant trainer Rick Matee is weary of entering both in the Classic.
So we got a decision to make with Girolamo and Regal Ransom, putting him in the race. It's a very deep race. You got Rip Van Winkle coming in there. Let's face it, if he runs to his European form, he's going to be a tough horse to beat at 10 furlongs. So for him and Zenyatta, Einstein, Quality Road, geez, it's going to be a tough race just to hit the board in.
For Craig DeLassy, there really is no decision to make when it comes to Awesome Gem and the Classic.
We're staying focused on the Classic, and he deserves to be in there. He can get the distance, and he's a real trooper, and he's on his game right now.
And that is our news of the day. Joining us here to talk about the works, we'll be bringing you Frank Lyons down in the winner's circle. Thank you, Frank. And let's take a look then at the works that we'll be bringing you. You saw a couple of them at the top. Here's a look at the entire list.
Yeah, we're going to look at Mind That Bird. It'll be interesting to see him. Richard's kid. So a lot of classic hopefuls out earlier today. Sensational as well. Looking forward to seeing that. And then Bulls Bay, he'll be in the classic. Pure Clan from a couple of days ago, working at Churchill Downs.
Here are the pre-entries for the Classic. So you're telling me it's the day before the post-draw, and we still don't know for sure where Zenyatta is running?
That's exactly right. No word has been said where Zenyatta is running, but maybe we'll get a little inkling later on in the show, or will we have to wait till entries tomorrow? You better stay tuned here.
Mind That Bird is in for sure, and let's start with him. Mind That Bird was going over the pro ride this morning here at Oak Tree. Joe Talamo aboard. They'd be traveling 5 furlongs.
Let's take a look at Mind That Bird here. The Kentucky Derby winner. He's been winless since that race here, and let's see him break off here in this 5 furlong work. And you can see already he's starting to get out. The right rein is dangling. We talked about that on an earlier work show with Fatal Bullet. He's got some high head carriage there, Tom, and as we know, this horse has had some throat surgery as well, and that might contribute to his high head carriage.
You know, we saw this horse a number of times before the Kentucky Derby. I'm trying to compare him to what I remember from the Derby, and quite frankly, he looks a lot the same than what he did. I mean, there's talk, is he over the top? He's had a lot of racing since the Derby. He's had a hard 3-year-old campaign, but the Mind That Bird that I'm looking at is very similar to the one I saw before the Kentucky Derby, except for maybe one thing, Simon. Down the lane, I think that head gets a little bit higher than even what you're looking at right there.
Yeah, what do you think, Frank? I mean, are you happy with what you're seeing down the lane here?
Well, no, because I think coming into this race, you have to be on top of your game, and it just looks to me like he's a little bit tired right now. Now, he might prove make me a liar out of me, but I just think he looks a little tired. His head is very, very high here, and he just doesn't look like a horse who is coming into a big race like this the right way.
Let me ask you guys something. Last Kentucky Derby winner to win the Classic.
Tom?
Unbridled.
Very good, Frank Lyons.
Man, I was just getting ready to say unbridled.
But think
yeah,
about that.
You're too slow, Tom.
Yeah, 1990. So Mind That Bird is trying to really buck a trend that has developed. 5 furlongs, 101 and 2 completed this morning as he prepares for the Classic. Richard's Kid, one of those Bob Baffert entrants we were talking about. Upset winner of the Pacific Classic, fast closing third in the Goodwood last out. Joe Steiner aboard this morning as Richard's Kid worked in company going a half mile.
Here's a horse that's really turned the corner since he's come to the West Coast and been put on the synthetic surface and added blinkers. I think both those together have contributed to his success out here in the Pacific Classic. And I love the way this horse is getting into his work here. He obviously relishes the synthetic surface. He's striding out well. He's got regular work rider Joe Steiner on aboard. And he's just cruising right now. I'm going to be asked to finish up past his stablemate.
I think the interesting thing about Richard's Kid here is in these Baffert works that we see where he pairs him with other horses, he's going to demand a little finish from the horse that he has in mind. In this case, Richard's Kid. He wants to see Richard's Kid pass that stablemate. Not only does he pass the stablemate, but look how little Joe Steiner does on his back. By that I mean, look at how he's balanced on top of the horse. He's not really asking. Just a little bit of nudging right now with his hands, but his hands are virtually still, and this horse is extending very nicely. You want to talk about a long shot coming into the Classic the right way. Richard's Kid is it.
I couldn't agree with you more, Tom and Simon. This horse is just, he's loving life right now, and he is loving the way, I love the way this horse is coming into the Classic. There's a long shot look right there.
Richard's Kid a half mile and 47-1, 35 workers at that distance. Richard's Kid's time would rank 6th. Colonel John, he really got on track as a 3-year-old right here at Santa Anita with a win in the Santa Anita Derby. Can he get back on track is the question now going into the Classic. This morning he worked 5 furlongs with Yuta Lang up.
Well, one of his more visually impressive races was actually on the turf this summer at Del Mar. He hasn't stepped foot on the turf course since then. So this has been the plan all along, and I can understand why. If I'm a trainer looking at this horse in the morning, working over the surface like this, he appears to be handling it well. The rider is just asking nothing of Colonel John right now, just sitting, restraining this horse, and just letting him stretch his legs.
Well, if you like Richard's Kid's work, you've got to like Colonel John's work because it looks a lot like it. Again, this horse is not being asked for very much. We're looking at the rider's hands. Look how his feet are balanced back against him on the stirrups there, and Colonel John is going through the motions extremely well. Great stride. I mean, he's going to keep that position all the way to the wire. So we've looked at 3 Classic horses. These last 2, they're going to give some trouble to the favorites.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were looking at this horse kind of up in the air about where to run him, this move here will make you run in the Classic because it is a thing of beauty.
Colonel John finishing up 5 furlongs, 59-4. That would rank 3rd out of 34 works at the distance this morning here at Oak Tree. Let's move on from the Classic and now talk about the Sprint. Big defection with Kodiak Cowboy not in there. Seems like it's really lining up for Sensational, but here's what the pre-entries look like right now.